I want to move on to really the state of the market as we are now. And I know a few months ago we were talking that since 2010 there'd been a 19% increase with the aerospace sector compared to 3% for the rest of the British economy. So we were looking pretty good. 6 out of 10 companies expected growth. We're employing 120,000 people, of which 3% of those are apprentices. So on paper, we look like we're doing well. What's the feeling now with all of the stuff hanging over us?
I think if we take a step back, the global aerospace market is growing and growing strongly. I mean, this year we'll have produced collectively, the highest number of large aircraft we've ever produced. That's each year goes by, each year it's a new record. So the global market is growing, and that's good news for the UK. But the competitive pressures are intensifying, and I guess those fall in a number of areas. So one, there's no doubt that our customers, whether those are airlines or passengers using airlines, are increasingly price conscious, and everyone wants a slightly better deal. So whilst volumes are growing, margins are always under pressure, and that means from a UK point of view, we have to, if you like, our benchmark is not the productivity improvement in the UK. It has to be the productivity improvement in some of our, most on our nearest competitors, and I would say that gives us a bit of a hurdle still to reach. There's competition from, if you like, some of the growing markets, China, Southeast Asia. They want to buy aircraft, but in return, their governments are expecting some level of aerospace activity. They covet the high value long-term jobs that our sectors like ours provide. So if we want to sell things to them, there's a kind of quid pro quo, which is that we have to, or the OEMs have to put some work in those locations. And we're seeing, certainly from both Airbus and Boeing, if you like, the globalization of their own production facilities as well. So, in those circumstances, we can't afford to rest on our laurels, really. We have to be able to sort of hold ourselves up and say, we are making better progress than our competitors. And clearly there's a role for government in the UK to help with that process.
Okay. Scott, talking about that competition and with China, for example, it's not just about Airbus setting up something there as one of your biggest customers, but they're also developing their own aerospace industry in terms of manufacturing as well, as we're seeing with the C919, for example. How much of a threat do you see a developing Chinese industry, a re-emerging Russian growth? Do you see that as an opportunity for a company like Spirit?
Yeah, I think it's both a threat and obviously a huge opportunity. 25% of all aircraft going forward will be sold in China, as an example, is the number that's quoted. So as the market expands, okay, so we went from rate 36 in Airbus and pretty much same rates in Boeing to rate 54 this year, rate 57 next year, definitely going to go to rate 60, doing studies for rate 70. So you could argue you're losing market share to China, but arguably the rate increases are coming from that area anyway. So you really have to be part of that game, and I think it's really important you've got a strategic plan to not necessarily be in China, but to be helping to deliver what I'd call offset industrial participation for our customers. For me, there's really 4 things you need to do to earn the right to grow. One is, yes, we're all under pressure on margins. And as the customers sell more aeroplanes, they're looking for more price point on that, and they expect your product to become cheaper. Even at static rates, they expect it to become cheaper, but as the rate increases, it absolutely needs to be cheaper. I think the second thing is big pressure on quality right now. So if you're a supplier that cannot deliver the right quality, then forget it. You need to earn the right to grow, and actually I'm seeing the quality becoming more of a pressure than delivery. Even some of our customers would rather have it a day late but right than on time. So that's a significant cultural shift that I think the UK needs to think about. The third thing for me is you also, while you're making thinner margins, you've got to be invested in R&D. I've never seen the need for R&D to be so high. We are certainly quadrupled our R&D spend, materials technology, all that kind of stuff is the way to stay ahead of the competition. So yeah, we might have to put product into China or India or wherever, but it's really been able to compete on a technology basis and offer up support to these economies by being a partner with them, but maybe not on your key technology. And then for me, all of that needs to come together in terms of if you want to win more work, you've got to bring all of that together. So for me, it's about quality, it's about technology, and it's about being able to deliver offset. So if you can't do those three things, it's really difficult to grow. You won't just do it on price. You have to do it on what you're doing to invest in the product, and what you're doing to help your customer put that product in the places it needs to have some of that work done. And for me, you've got to have a model that does all of that.
Colin, I remember reading in Daily Telegraph once you were quoted as saying you would fly on an aircraft with a Rolls-Royce engine because it was safe and you knew it was safe. How long is it going to be until you're going to be happy flying on an engine with a Chinese-built engine on the aircraft?
I'm happy flying on almost anything, just out of interest, on the
That's
grounds
'cause
that...
you've left,
No, on the grounds that once I've got to the airport, all the risk is gone. Yeah. Well, once I've got through immigration, all the risk is gone. You just die of boredom. Well, we've got to face it. China's putting 25 billion into the civil aerospace business to grow, basically to take the dinner off the Western manufacturers' plates. And the word is really about, Paul mentioned it, competition. The UK industry is second in civil aerospace. It's an absolutely phenomenal industry. We've come there from historical reasons and from the original military investments that were made post the Second World War. And we've got to recognise that these other countries would like some of this very high value manufacturing capability and design capability. And if you're putting 25 billion in and you've got a country with the industrial might and finance of China, they are hugely competitive and will continue to be so. And Scott mentioned Malaysia, Singapore, Malaysia. When you go there, you just realise what competition is. So certainly when I was employed by Rolls-Royce, every day you sort of woke up realising that not only are you having to try and beat the great American companies that were fighting you all the time, but you've now got to stay match fit in every single thing you do to earn the right to be a supplier to Airbus, Boeing, or given the Chinese in the future. So in the UK, people talk about productivity being down. I'm not quite as negative as some of our politicians. Productivity in aerospace generally is 20% better than a lot of manufacturing, but the quality has to be 100%. And what you need is quality and delivery on time, but quality is absolutely key. But we need to recognise that it's going to be we're going to have to invest in technology, have to invest in improving our productivity, and if the guy in Malaysia can deliver it cheaper than you, then they ain't going to come to you if they've got the quality. So, aerospace, there is no free lunch anymore, even if there was when the big defence programmes were on. We just got to recognise how hard these other countries would like the sort of technology and long-term growth that aerospace offers. And China and Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, they're all going to be trying to take what the West thinks is their right to deliver. So, as what chief executives of companies always stand up at the beginning of or the end of last year and always say, it's going to be a really tough year. I've never heard one say next year is going to be easy. And that's true in the aerospace business. Next year will not be easy. It's going to be intense pressure all the time. And you've got to shape up or get out, bluntly. We have got fantastic support in the UK now with the what was the Aerospace Technology Initiative to put a significant degree of funding, which a lot of companies are then contributing 50-50 to. Well, I wish it was more, and Paul and myself are always arguing with the government ministers that if we're going to match the ambitions of China, what Germany already gets, what NASA delivers, and other people deliver in America, then that really is, that several £billion really is the minimum. But we just have to work it every day, and there's no, we have to use the Toyota metric. Every day you've got to try and lean your operation a little bit more.
So your message then to the UK industry particularly is quality works, but time is right, but you've still got to get your price right. So it's get leaner, get fitter.
Absolutely. But without quality, you're dead in the water. Yeah. Nobody will accept a widget that goes on a £150 million aeroplane if it's going to stop it. I mean, ringing up the boss of Qatar saying, sorry, your aeroplane didn't go, my bolt broke, really isn't a fun conversation. So quality's got to be great. And then price is just about competition. But you've got to be priced.
Okay. I mean, it's worth saying that, the good thing about the UK at the moment is that there are, industry kind of schemes, industry and government schemes that are designed to help companies get to that place, or at least on the journey, whether that's helping them with establishing their own innovation and technology development activity, being part of the big collaborative programs that the likes of, Rolls, Airbus are running on some of the, if you like, the wing and engines of the future, or whether it's, helping with that kind of productivity and competitiveness challenge. So there are, if you like, tools and assistance out there. It's not like anyone has to do this on their own. I think that's a strong proposition. Could always be stronger, but it is a strong proposition from the UK that there are ways in which the supply chain can access help and support.
Can I say one other additional point, please? The other thing is, we do have some of the fantastic universities in the UK, and with the UK industrial strategy talking about trying to localise more, people getting together in clusters, I would say go to your regional development authority, or your LEPs as they're called this week, and try and work with the local education people as well, and other small companies, to improve your competitiveness, whether it's through some of the bigger national programs like Sharing Growth or SC21, but lots of people can help you improve your quality and your productivity, and try and engage the academics as well.